So like back when I first got this channel, I did this tag video, and I'm gonna do another one like 5 months later, and this is Sonya's book tag. So let's get started. First question is, what genre of books do you prefer? Genre. Love that word. Anything YA, dystopian, sci-fi. I also really like contemporary, like John Green, Jenny Downham, David Levithan, that sort of stuff. What are some of my must-have books in my library? That would have to be Harry Potter, Maximum Ride, Gone, mostly Harry Potter. Hunger Games, I really don't dislike any of them. Harry Potter. What is the most expensive book on my shelf? I'm not quite sure, but I have the Hunger Games Collector's Edition. It's got the fancy pages and the fancy pages. I'm not quite sure how much this was. There's also like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which was really expensive. The next question is, what book do you covet the most? Not really sure on this one. Just gonna skip it. How much do you spend on books? And for me, it really depends. I usually go online because you can get the hardcovers that are $17.99 for like $11.98, and I usually end up spending about $100 a month. Where do I get that money? I mow lawns over the summer, and it like pretty much pays for everything, including this phone and my monthly bill for this phone and everything. It works. What do you think about the current trend in YA books? Well, I think one of the earlier trends back in the late 90s, early 2000s was magic and wizards and people with powers. For example, Harry Potter and all the books that followed in its footsteps. That was like a really big thing when we were kids, and there was all the books that came along after, Percy Jackson. I can think of like a bunch of series that I read back then. Harry Potter set the standard for a long time, and then after that it was vampires and werewolves. Of course, the first place for that one was Twilight, and then just the shelves of Barnes & Noble became a big blood-sucking fest. There's Nightshade, and there's the House of Night series, and there's Mortal Instruments, which is kind of different, but there's just like so many random vampire series, it's weird. And I'm not hating on Twilight because I don't dislike Twilight at all. I'm just not like a huge fan, so I ignore it and I don't spend time on it. People. Lucky for us, Suzanne Collins came in and whoa, dust. Suzanne Collins brought back the dystopian stuff. Uglies, Divergent, Legend, Matched, Delirium, Gone, Maze Runner. There's so many great dystopian books now, and it's so awesome. I'm really into this new dystopian sci-fi stuff. And of course along comes the copycats, but for some reason I still tend to enjoy almost every dystopian book I read, even how similar they are. I know there's a bunch of authors who are getting so much publicity taking off after the Hunger Games. Way to be original. Next question is, what series do you wish you had more books of? I'm personally rooting for some Harry Potter companions by the author herself. Backgrounds of characters, like, I don't know, more of Voldemort's story, Dumbledore's stuff. But then you think about it and all that stuff is pretty much explained in the Harry Potter books. I just want to go back to Hogwarts. J.K. Rowling is writing a new book, or she did write one, and it's going to be out later this year, and it's an adult book, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Other than that, Percy Jackson, Mark of Athena. I really need the last Gone book now. Light, The Kill Order, Artemis Fowl, July. What are your go-to books in your library? I don't really have any go-to books. I'm not a big rereader because I have like an obnoxiously long TBR. But if I'm going to reread something, it would be Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, that category. What book is currently in your bag? And that is Plague by Michael Grant, the 4th book in the Gone series. I love it so far. The Gone series is brilliant. I love Plague so far. It's like my favorite one yet. What is the most prized book in your collection? Well, there's the Hunger Games Special Edition, also Legend by Marie Lu, and Across the Universe by Beth Revis, A Million Suns by Beth Revis, Born Wicked by Jessica Spotswood, all my signed books, The Underdogs by Mike Lupica, whatever his name is. Legend is just my favorite book at the moment, and I'm so glad that I got to meet Marie Lou and get this signed. I find a way to brag about that in like every freaking video. What are some of the non-fiction books in your library? And I really don't have many because I sit in history class, and although I do have a really cool history teacher, it's just I don't find reality interesting. I much prefer the fictional world. I do have some biographies though of people that I really admire, such as Steven Spielberg, because I actually really want to go into filmmaking. I have tons of stuff that I kind of want to do when I'm older. Movie directing, acting, writing, reviewing. I'm not sure if this will become a thing. So Steven Spielberg is one of my biggest inspirations when it comes to that. Also James Cameron recently. And also the Steve Jobs biography by Walter Isaacson. I haven't like read this cover to cover because I don't have time, and I've just read like cool parts. Where would my life be without Apple products? But of course the new iPad, which is literally called the new iPad. Like 10 years down the road, they're gonna be like, what model of the iPad do you have? And then people are gonna be like, I have the new iPad. And then the other people are gonna be like, the one that was released 10 years ago, you need an upgrade. What was wrong with iPad 3? I mean, I know it's not much of an upgrade, so it's not like a big new thing, but what was wrong with iPad 3? This is a book channel. What are some of your favorite authors? Name up to 3. Well, I guess now my go-to authors are, gosh, J.K. Rowling, John Green, and I'll go with Michael Grant because I'm kind of obsessed with the Gone series right now. I love Plague. Favorite bookstore, which is like the only bookstore that I ever really go to because it's the only one around me. Barnes & Noble. I go there and I talk to the manager and we just babble about books. She's like the only person in real life that I talk to about that stuff. So those are all the questions. Yeah. I would say I tag you. You do this video. Leave it as a video response, but you wouldn't feel singled out and you wouldn't do it. So I'm going to tag a few people. The Readables has already done this, so I apologize if you've done this. I just don't know. I tag Queen of Khazar, Ballista, Jane Balog, Hale J. Rowe, Little Book Owl, Books with Court, The Metalhead Bookworm, Jordan Monroe 19, Lizzie Books, and I think that's it. Also, anyone else that does it, feel free to leave it as a video response because I really want to see it. So I will see you in the near future, and goodbye.